I'm never going to say anything bad about LeBron, I told you. I think he's the third best player I've ever seen play after Michael and Kobe. It's just different eras. I love LeBron. I'm not going to say anything bad about him. He didn't go to college for 3 years. You have to factor that in also. He had a 3-year head start on Michael. Okay, since you want me that. So, I'm going to just give a couple.
Michael Jordan just did something nobody saw coming. The man who defined greatness for an entire generation is now threatening legal action against LeBron James, not over sneakers, not over endorsements, but over something far more personal, the GOAT title itself. We're talking about a potential $250 million defamation lawsuit that could shake the NBA to its core. And what's even crazier, this isn't just tabloid noise. Sources close to MJ's camp confirm that preliminary legal discussions have already begun. The question isn't whether this is real anymore. The question is, how did we get here?
Talking about who is the greatest of all time. Now, yes, I'm in the course of doing this list that is in small part a mockery of lists, but a list nonetheless, not being hypocritical by doing that and having this discussion. But I think there's something different about a constant discussion with like a running tally and leaderboard for who is the greatest of all time, all the time, in honestly just about anything.
Let's rewind for a second, because this whole situation, it didn't just come out of nowhere. For years, the GOAT debate has been more than just bar talk and social media arguments. It's become a billion-dollar business. And in early 2025, that business got personal. LeBron James has never been shy about his greatness, and why should he be? 4 championships, multiple MVPs, all-time leading scorer, the resume speaks for itself. But over the past few months, something shifted. LeBron stopped being subtle. In a series of interviews and social media posts throughout January and February 2025, he started making claims that went beyond confidence. He was outright positioning himself as the undisputed greatest to ever do it. One particular Instagram post caught fire. LeBron posted a photo of himself holding the Larry O'Brien trophy with the caption, "The debate is over. Numbers don't lie, longevity don't lie, impact don't lie." The post got millions of likes, but it also got Michael Jordan's attention. See, here's where it gets interesting. Jordan has always stayed above the fray when it comes to the GOAT debate. He's let his 6 rings and his legend do the talking. But according to multiple sources, that Instagram post wasn't what pushed him over the edge. It was what came after. In late February 2025, LeBron appeared on a major podcast, one that reaches tens of millions of listeners. And in that conversation, he didn't just claim to be the GOAT. He allegedly made specific statements suggesting that Jordan's era was easier, that the competition was weaker, and that if you put LeBron in the 90s, the debate wouldn't even exist. He reportedly said, "Mike had a great run, but let's be honest, he never had to face the level of talent I've faced night in and night out for 2 decades." Those words, they didn't just ruffle feathers. According to insiders, they triggered something in Jordan that hadn't been triggered in years: anger. But here's where it gets even more complicated. It wasn't just about pride. Jordan's legal team reportedly began analyzing the financial impact of LeBron's claims, and what they found was shocking.
See, that's the ultimate equalizer or usurper. Pick whichever one you want to pick. Do you understand that Jordan is 6-0 in NBA Finals?
Yes.
Do you understand that Jordan was MVP all 6 NBA Finals?
Yes.
Do you understand that Jordan never even allowed a final series to go 7 games? You understand that? It never went 7 games.
I also know he didn't start to go in the finals until Larry Bird back went out.
Excuse me. 10-time NBA scoring champion. 9-time all defensive first team. You do know that, right?
Yeah.
All right. So in other words, it was LeBron.
So why $250 million? That's not a random number pulled out of thin air. According to sources familiar with the legal discussions, Jordan's team conducted an extensive financial analysis. And their conclusion?
LeBron's public statements have directly and measurably harmed Michael Jordan's brand value. Let's break this down. Jordan Brand, the Nike subsidiary built entirely around MJ's legacy, generates billions in annual revenue. But over the past 3 years, as the GOAT narrative has shifted more toward LeBron in mainstream media and among younger fans, Jordan Brand has seen a dip in certain key demographics. Specifically, Gen Z consumers, the future of sneaker culture, are increasingly viewing LeBron as the pinnacle of basketball greatness. Jordan's legal team argues that LeBron's repeated public claims, especially the ones that directly diminish MJ's accomplishments, constitute defamation. The argument goes like this. By falsely claiming that Jordan's era was inferior and that his achievements are less impressive than they actually were, LeBron is intentionally damaging MJ's commercial reputation. Now here's where it gets legally fascinating. Defamation cases are notoriously hard to win, especially when you're talking about public figures debating subjective topics like greatest of all time. But Jordan's lawyers are reportedly building their case around a different angle: commercial defamation. They're arguing that LeBron's statements aren't just opinions, they're strategic business moves designed to elevate his own brand at the direct expense of Jordan's. The $250 million figure allegedly represents projected losses in endorsement deals, merchandise sales, and licensing agreements over the next 5 years. Jordan's team claims they can prove a direct correlation between LeBron's public GOAT claims and measurable drops in Jordan Brand's market share among younger consumers. One source close to the Jordan camp was quoted saying, "This isn't about ego. This is about protecting a legacy that took decades to build and is worth billions. When someone makes false statements that damage that legacy for their own financial gain, that's not free speech, that's defamation." Could this actually hold up in court? Legal experts are divided. Some say it's a stretch, that arguing about GOAT status could never meet the legal threshold for defamation. Others point out that if Jordan's team can prove actual malice and measurable financial harm, they might have a case. But here's where nobody's arguing about. This is unprecedented. Never in the history of professional sports has one legend threatened to sue another over claims of greatness. And that alone makes this a story that's bigger than basketball.
Part of our series on the top 25 athletes of the last 25 years for this year, 2025. We've got 5 left. We are down to the top 5. You go back, check our old episodes, see what we got here. And what we've done is we've done episodes alongside those to give some context to these last 25 years, not just the games themselves, but the ways that we consume them and the ways that we talk about them. And one way that we talk about sports, it feels like we do now more than ever, is
LeBron James didn't get to where he is by backing down, and when word of Jordan's potential lawsuit started circulating in early March 2025, his response was swift and forceful. Through his representatives, LeBron made it clear he's not apologizing and he's not backing down. In a statement released through his management team, LeBron said, "I've earned the right to speak on my own greatness. Everything I've said is backed by facts, statistics, and accomplishments. If someone feels threatened by the truth, that says more about their insecurities than it does about my statements." That last line, it went viral immediately. Social media exploded. Hashtag Team LeBron and hashtag Team MJ started trending within hours. The debate that had been simmering for years suddenly reached a boiling point. But LeBron's team didn't stop at public statements. According to sources, they've been preparing their own legal response, and it's aggressive. LeBron's attorneys are reportedly considering a counter-lawsuit for harassment and intimidation, arguing that Jordan's legal threats are an attempt to silence legitimate speech and stifle healthy debate about basketball history. One insider from LeBron's camp put it this way: Michael Jordan is trying to use his wealth and legal power to control the narrative, but LeBron has just as much money and just as many resources. If MJ wants to go to war over this, LeBron is ready. The public response has been fascinating to watch. Older fans, particularly those who grew up watching Jordan dominate in the 90s, are overwhelmingly on MJ's side. They see LeBron's claims as disrespectful and his tactics as self-serving. One viral tweet read, "Jordan never had to campaign for GOAT status. He just was. LeBron's desperation is showing." But younger fans see it completely differently. To them, LeBron's longevity, versatility, and sustained excellence across multiple eras make him the clear choice. And they view Jordan's legal threats as exactly what LeBron's team is calling them, an attempt to silence someone who's threatening to surpass him. The generational divide in this debate is real, and it's not just about basketball anymore. It's about whose version of history gets to be told. But wait, because what happened next is where things get truly bizarre. So what actually pushed Michael Jordan to this point? What was the final straw that made the most competitive athlete in history decide that legal action was necessary? According to multiple reports, it wasn't just the public statements. It was something more personal. In mid-February 2025, LeBron was having a private conversation with another NBA superstar at a charity event. The conversation was supposed to be off the record, but someone recorded it, and someone leaked it. In that recording, LeBron allegedly said something that Jordan found unforgivable. He reportedly said, "Look, Mike was great for his time, but if we're being real, put me in the 90s with today's training, today's knowledge, today's game, I'm averaging 40 a night and sweeping everybody. Mike's legacy is built on nostalgia, not reality." That recording made its way to Jordan within 48 hours. And according to people close to him, that's when everything changed. Jordan has always been able to brush off the public debate. He's heard every argument, every comparison, every criticism. But hearing LeBron privately dismiss his entire legacy as nostalgia, that was different. One source close to Jordan said, "Mike has spent his entire post-playing career staying out of this debate. He's never publicly diminished LeBron's accomplishments. He's never campaigned for GOAT status. But to hear someone he respects as a player completely disrespect everything he achieved, that broke something in him." There's another layer to this that makes it even more complicated. Nike. Both Jordan and LeBron are Nike athletes. Jordan brand operates under the Nike umbrella, and LeBron has his own signature line with the company. This legal battle puts Nike in an impossible position. How do you mediate a dispute between two of your most valuable assets? According to industry insiders, Nike executives have been working overtime to prevent the situation from escalating. They've reportedly held multiple meetings with both camps, trying to broker some kind of peace. But so far, neither side is budging. The business implications are staggering. If this actually goes to court, it could force Nike to publicly choose a side, or risk alienating one of these massive brands. And that's a decision worth billions of dollars. But here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to say out loud. This isn't really about basketball anymore. It's about ego, money, and control. Jordan feels his legacy is being rewritten in real time by someone who benefits financially from tearing it down. And LeBron feels he's being punished for speaking his truth by someone who can't handle the fact that the throne isn't permanent.
The NBA has a problem. A massive, unprecedented public relations nightmare of a problem. Two of the greatest players in league history are on the verge of suing each other over who's better, and the league is scrambling to figure out how to handle it. According to sources, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has personally reached out to both Jordan and LeBron, urging them to resolve this privately. The league is terrified of what a public court battle would do to the NBA's image. Basketball is supposed to be about competition on the court, not in courtrooms. And having two legends dragging each other through the legal system would be a disaster for the sport. But Silver's efforts haven't been successful. Both sides are dug in. Jordan feels disrespected and financially harmed. LeBron feels attacked for exercising his right to self-advocacy. And neither one is willing to back down first. Other NBA legends have started weighing in, and the opinions are split. Magic Johnson, in a recent interview, said, "I love both Mike and Bron, but this ain't how legends should handle business. Y'all need to sit down, have a conversation, and squash this." But others, who haven't gone on record publicly, have privately expressed support for Jordan's position, feeling that younger players don't respect the history and foundation laid by earlier generations. The fan response has been equally divided. Social media has become a battleground. Every basketball page, every sports forum, every comment section is filled with heated debates. And it's not just about who's the better player anymore. It's about whether Jordan has the right to sue, whether LeBron crossed a line, and what this means for how we talk about sports legacy going forward. From a business perspective, both brands are actually seeing increased engagement. Controversy sells. Jordan brand sneakers are selling out. LeBron's merchandise is flying off shelves. In a twisted way, this legal battle might actually be making both of them more money in the short term. But the long-term damage? That's harder to calculate. If this goes to trial, both legacies will be scrutinized in ways they've never been before. Every accomplishment will be questioned. Every failure will be magnified. Every private conversation will be fair game for discovery. And here's the part that nobody's talking about yet. So what happens now? There are really only 3 possible outcomes to this situation, and none of them are good for everyone involved. Outcome 1, settlement. Behind closed doors, lawyers hammer out an agreement. Maybe LeBron issues some kind of statement clarifying his respect for Jordan's legacy. Maybe Jordan drops the legal threats. Maybe Nike mediates a truce that protects both brands. This is the most likely outcome, but it's also the least satisfying because it doesn't actually resolve anything. It just pushes the conflict underground where it will continue to fester. Outcome 2, court battle. This is the nuclear option. If Jordan actually files the lawsuit and it goes to trial, we're talking about months, maybe years of legal proceedings. Discovery would be insane. Every interview, every social media post, every private conversation would be examined. Expert witnesses would testify about brand value and market impact. It would be a circus. And in the end, even if Jordan wins, does he really win? Because the story would be that he had to sue someone to protect his legacy. That's not exactly the mark of an undisputed GOAT. Outcome 3, escalation. LeBron follows through on his counter-lawsuit. Now we've got dueling lawsuits, both sides claiming harassment and defamation. The legal fees alone would be astronomical. The media coverage would be relentless, and the NBA would be powerless to stop it. This is the worst-case scenario for everyone except lawyers and content creators. But here's the deeper question that this whole situation raises. Can you actually sue someone over GOAT status? And more importantly, should you? The GOAT debate has always been subjective. It's based on personal preferences, generational biases, and what you value most in a player. Rings, stats, longevity, peak performance, clutch moments, cultural impact. Everyone weighs these factors differently. That's what makes the debate fun. That's what keeps fans arguing in barbershops and Twitter threads for hours. But the moment you turn it into a legal battle, you change the entire nature of the conversation. You're no longer debating greatness, you're litigating it. And that feels fundamentally wrong to a lot of people. At the same time, LeBron supporters make a valid point. If you can't speak about your own accomplishments and make your case for being the greatest without facing a lawsuit, where does that leave us? Are athletes supposed to stay silent about their legacies? Are they supposed to defer to whoever came before them, regardless of what they've achieved? Michael Jordan revolutionized basketball. He turned the NBA into a global brand. He set a standard of excellence that defined a generation. Nobody disputes that. But does that mean his legacy is untouchable? Does that mean nobody else can claim the throne?
LeBron James has played at an elite level for over 2 decades. He's adapted to multiple eras of basketball. He's carried multiple franchises. He's redefined what longevity looks like in professional sports. And he's done it all while being the most scrutinized athlete of his generation. Doesn't he have the right to make his case? The truth is, this lawsuit, whether it actually gets filed or not, reveals something uncomfortable about how we treat our sports heroes. We build them up to be larger than life, and then we get angry when they act like it. We celebrate their competitive fire when it's on the court, but we condemn it when it shows up anywhere else. Michael Jordan threatening to sue LeBron James over GOAT claims is either the most brilliant power move in sports history or the biggest mistake of his post-playing career. We won't know which until this plays out, but what we do know is this: the GOAT debate will never be the same. Whether this ends in a courtroom, a settlement, or a handshake, the line has been crossed, and there's no going back.